Self-Publishing Podcast, episode number 153.
This episode of the Self-Publishing Podcast is brought to you by 99 Designs, the online marketplace that helps you get outstanding book cover designs at an affordable price. Start your custom design today at 99designs.com/SPP. Enjoy a free Power Pack upgrade valued at $99.
Welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast, where if you want something done right, you've got to do it yourself. And now, here are your hosts, three guys who sometimes use their powers for good instead of evil: Johnny, Sean, and Dave.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Self-Publishing Podcast, the podcast that follows three full-time authors as we attempt to change the face of indie publishing. Join us in our trailblazing guests as we shove aside boundaries, freely experiment, and occasionally screw up. I'm Johnny B. Truant. My co-hosts are Sean Platt and David Wright. Congratulating myself on getting the intro, even getting here, like 6 minutes late. That's actually quite an accomplishment. Literally was in the shower 10 minutes, like actually showering 10 minutes ago. So to be here with you people and no longer naked is good. Yeah.
I'm usually in the shower 5 minutes before the show.
Guys, we recorded an extra SPP this week because we're going to be gone next week. Sean and I are, and so we won't be recording a live show next Friday. So we recorded it 2 days ago, and I listened to it today. And our guests on that one are the Martian author Andy Weir and the voice actor who did the audiobook R.C. Bray, Bob Bray. And holy shit, that's like one of my favorite episodes ever. It's so good. You guys are going to have to stay tuned for 154.
That was hella fun. That was really, really cool.
So, an excellent episode. Oh, you know what I should speaking of scheduling things, hold on, let me find my window here because I want to announce this again, too. And when I say again, I mean for those of you on the live feed, the first time. Vertigo. Because I also announced this on 154, which we recorded in the past, but will air in the future.
In the past.
Our 1 year anniversary is coming up very soon. I'm not sure the exact day, but there's a show that it's Amy around. Knows. Amy would know, and she would probably tell us that we were terrible for forgetting, but that's how we roll. It would be the May 1st show, and so we said, what can we do that's special that won't necessitate us to actually put forth any effort? And we said, let's schedule it at a different time.
Oh,
that's effort.
That's a good idea, Dave.
Russian roulette.
It's only a matter of time anyway, right? That's just accelerating the inevitable.
So it's the show that was going to be on May 1st, Friday, May 1st, will instead be on Wednesday, May 29th, and we'll do it at night, which Dave was really happy about when I announced it at 8 p.m.
No.
8 p.m. Eastern for a live show, so if you want to join us live, 4/29 Wednesday, April 29th at 8 p.m. Eastern, we will be here. Which doesn't make any sense, Dave, because you do. This is the time we've done every single off-time show has been 8 p.m. So you're acting like this is so unusual.
No, but to be fair to Dave, his memory is like a sieve.
My son's bedtime routine has become a little more complicated, meaning I need to be a little more involved. So.
How long does it take? Can you come in late?
Could you Skype in? Not to us, to him.
Skype in? Yeah. He's got a computer in his room.
Here, Daddy wants some FaceTime. You just give him your iPad.
So you literally let him to have FaceTime. Literally. It was funny.
Him so he has to go to bed earlier.
Yeah, pick a fight with him. During dinner time. Just goad him into saying the wrong thing at the wrong time. And just be like, go to bed! And then just done. Then you're done.
You're a horrible man, Sean Platt.
That's a pretty good idea.
What's funny was that neither Bob nor Andy from episode 154 in the future knew the show really, and so they seemed apologetic that they were bringing the show down with the immediate beginning of dick jokes and stuff, and we were like, no, like they said, isn't your audience all like self-writers? This isn't what they signed up for. We're like, no, that's kind of actually what they are here for. Maybe not what they're here for, but what they get.
Yeah, it decayed pretty quickly. We did not succeed in getting them to talk about Taint or anything, but they were off color.
There is always a next time.
There is always a next time. Yeah, they were great. That was a really good show. I think the mix of good content. I think Andy and they both had a lot to say, and just humor. Like I love learning. When there's also laughs. That's just a great environment to retain information.
So, Dave, does your OCD research tendency, like, are you now going to feel that you need to ratchet up now that Andy is inventing his own physics to do his next book?
Yeah, I'm inventing new ways to hurt people.
Anything short of reinventing the laws of the universe, I think, is just.
I was honestly, I was really inspired by that. I thought that was really, really cool. I don't know. I had a great time, but more than that, I felt inspired. Like, okay, like Andy is clearly, he's one of those authors who did really, really well with his book, but man, is it just so deserved. His book is fantastic. It's well written. It's well researched. It's a page turner. It's a science page turner. How often does that happen? So
speaking of inventing physics and math and stuff, are either of you familiar with Common Core math?
I've heard terrible things about it.
Holy shit!
But I don't understand how math, because
Wow.
this is, I keep hearing it and I keep having the same response, which is not precisely what's wrong with it, but like since I haven't looked, it's math, like, right? 2 + 2 still equals 4, right? I don't understand how something can be wrong with it, but I've heard that so consistently.
And should we save this for BOU? Because Dave looks very upset about this.
It's not a long rant, but yeah, we can save it.
It's not a long rant, said Dave. All right, so Dave versus Common Core math for Better Off Undead today, if you'd like to. So planning the Dave the Taper episode from the last one that we recorded.
What's the last episode? Dave Gets Political? Was that last week?
Yeah, it was called Dave the Taper because he kept it. Yeah, that one was. That was the opposite. I thought it was rough. You guys seem to think it was great, but I thought that was not fun.
No, I didn't. I never think it's great.
Sean, we got off, and Sean goes, "That was great."
That was awesome.
No, wasn't great.
Yeah,
it was great that it made you uncomfortable. That was great.
Yeah, well, that is true.
That's what I liked about it. It was fun. So yeah.
It was like every date I went on in high school, just Johnny being awkward and not sure what to say.
What do I say here? I know I don't care about politics. I don't pay attention to what's going on in the world. I'm very much with my blinders on. So there you go. All right. So do you want to do you want? I know we normally do like something cool, whatever, but we started a little late. We have Kobo's Mark Lefebvre on in 15 minutes. Do you want to hit some questions maybe instead?
Yeah, I do want to hit questions because I think they stack up.
I believe I have one voicemail left that I haven't played. So do you want me to play that one, and then we'll go to the written ones?
Yeah, that's cool. I have the page up for whenever.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure
we're going to say no.
Yeah, that's true. Because I have the controls.
No, I don't want to hear from people that called in.
What was that? What was that, Dave? What was that?
No, I don't want to hear from people that called in. Fuck them.
Okay, so that was an audio-only gig. Those of you on YouTube won't get it, but I just turned them down. Okay, so this question is, I don't think we've played this yet. This is from Chris about Scrivener.
Hey guys, this is Chris Cloutier from MediaFreshPress.com. Anyway, I got a quick question for you about Scrivener. I'm trying to switch over and start using it more. So I was wondering if you guys could give us a little bit of advice about how you use it. Not necessarily like for beats and stuff like that, but like, I mean, do you write outside of Scrivener in another app and import your words into it, or everything in Scrivener? Because it doesn't, it's not like it's not in the cloud, so I'm afraid to use it because I'm concerned about losing my content as I'm typing it and stuff like that. I mean, I have it auto-saved, to back up into Google Drive, but that's still not really the security I'm looking for, whereas when you type in something like Evernote or Google Drive, you don't have to worry about losing anything. So I'm just curious if you guys can give us any advice on that kind of stuff for Scrivener. So anyway, thanks a lot.
That's a very specific kind of paranoia. I don't think I've ever heard anybody wanting their word processing in the cloud, but I get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, No, we use Dropbox in. We keep our Scrivener in Dropbox, and Scrivener, I don't know, it backs up like every
10 seconds.
millisecond. Right, it's constantly backing up. So I don't really worry about losing stuff in that particular way, and I wouldn't. I mean, the joy of Scrivener is writing in Scrivener, so I would never consider even writing in some
That's
other
like
application.
buying a car to go on a pony ride.
Right. I would never even consider writing in another application and porting it in there unless there was a specific reason I had to. For example, when we get our edits back, we have to paste those into Scrivener, and like I hate that process. Like I love doing as much in Scrivener as possible. You do have to be careful if there's different people using the files. For example, I've had a miserable 2 days, the last 2 days. Because we had a Dropbox.
I'm sorry, is this Dave speaking?
We had a Dropbox syncing issue, and I had to re-link everything in my Dropbox account, and it had to upload yesterday and all of that. So yesterday I pretty much lost a day of work, and then this morning, the beauty of Scrivener is that it constantly backs up, so you're never actually going to lose stuff, but you do have to look for it. So today I had to go into all the conflicted.
You have to look for it in a disaster. You don't have to look for it normally.
Yeah, it really is. Like I do think that is a Dave level of paranoia there. I think that if you're going to
you could go both ways on that, because I could argue, well, you're putting your stuff in the cloud, then Dave could be paranoid about people hacking the cloud, right? Like you did with your iPhone nudes, right, Dave?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I think that if you're going,
guys, Google fappening David Wright. So just saying there.
Wow. If you're going to write in Scrivener, you should write in Scrivener, I think.
There you go. Okay, so that's it on our voicemails. I believe we're totally caught up to what I have put on here. So there's possible some just haven't gotten downloaded and stuff, but I think we're good on voicemails. Do you want to, you have the page up?
Yeah. How do I find another writer for collaborating? What's a good way to connect to someone?
That question a lot.
Yeah, we get this question a lot. I like this question. I understand.
Let me answer. You start a podcast with two writers already working together and shoehorn your way in until you take the other writer's time.
That's exactly right. And then for bonus, you can just take that guy's ideas. Yes. I was thinking today about an unnamed project that I won't mention because who knows. And I was thinking, I was really excited about that project, and Dave wanted it, and of course it's like, oh yeah, well that's awesome. But they haven't done anything yet. And I was wondering how long I need to wait, and if there's etiquette involved in poaching that, like, or should I just let him have it forever? Start the initials are GP.
No, what are we talking about?
The initials are GP.
Oh, well that's for.
I mean, he's claimed it. So I'm thinking, well, I'd probably better not, right? But who knows? There's a statute of limitations on these things.
He'll only do that because he'll be forced to do that later this year.
I'm like one of those rodents where like like you'll be eating a meal and then you look away and the thing comes over and just grab that and just walk away. Like that's me.
I think that finding writers to kind of associate with and play with and collaborate with in a more removed way where hey, can you read this and tell me what you think, or can you look at my product description or my cover, that kind of thing. I think that's really easy to do. I think finding somebody to actually collaborate with is a whole different level, and I don't think there is a system for that. It's like, how do you make friends, or how do you find somebody? Dave, you want to take that?
What friends?
How do you find somebody that you're, compatible with?
Stab you in the back.
Or that you want to marry. I think finding a collaborator it's a deep relationship, and I think you have to trust one another, and you have to have similar aesthetics, and you have to have similar things that you are trying to say or want to explore. You have to like, some of the same influences, and you have to have. Not just that, but you have to bring different things to the table. Whoever I'm collaborating with, there's a complement there, right? So there's things that Johnny does very well that I don't do very well. There's things that Dave does very well that I don't do very well. and then there's things that I do, that complement that. So I think that you need to. It's a personality thing, it's a chemistry thing, it's an ability thing, and I don't think there's a one size fits all solution. But I do think opening yourself up for success, I think things like, the summit that we're doing next week is a great opportunity for that. We're collaborating now with, we already were collaborating with Garrett, and we're collaborating now with Amy and Monica, and that all came from in-person stuff. I think that the chemistry is just better. It's a way to kind of accentuate that.
You can also chat with writers like in communities and such. Find people that share similar interests, maybe even write similar books to you that may want to collaborate.
There you go. I have nothing to add to that. They covered it sufficiently. So.
Okay, so how about what do you suggest for a writer who writes a bunch of short stories? If I package them all together as one book, what kind of marketing should I do? Like if one story is a romance, one a thriller, etc.
I would say
I would not
a full-length book.
Yeah, I would not package those stories together.
Right, a romance and a thriller. That's a tough sell together. I think you can do it if there's some kind of like overarching storytelling. For example,
or if your name is Stephen King.
Yeah, Dark Crossings has a lot of different types of stories, but they all have the same energy to them. The tagline for Dark Crossings is, short stories, killer endings, and that's kind of the vibe. But a romance and a thriller, I think those are pretty far removed. I mean, you could even argue that you wouldn't even put those under the same pen name, really. But if you are doing the same name, I don't think they'd be in the same book or the same collection.
I have nothing to add to that one either. It's doing such a well. My only comment was really, I don't think I'd do that.
We should change this to Ask Sean.
Ask Sean. Well, he handles a lot of the back when Japkin was working. Remember that? Sean was answering a lot of those, so it is sort of the same vibe.
That sucks that that's not working.
Yeah.
Okay. How do I jump?
Something called Japkin would work forever. Come on.
Is that Dave being racist? I can't tell.
No, it's not. It just sounds like something that just.
I think you have a problem with the Japanese. I think
I
think that's what you're saying here, Dave. All right. What is a good way to use a blog to build a platform for fiction writers? Example: what do you write about so you don't only attract other writers?
Talk about the things you do like. Talk about the things your audience likes. We've used this example before, but if you were huge into the show Lost and it was currently on the air, you might write about that. If you write something that people that like Lost might also like, I would write about things that interest you and find an audience that way.
I still feel like that's a hard sell. I agree that that's the best way to do it, but I'm just our experiences with blogging. I'm just trying to. I don't think I would ever start up that way. I think I just write books. But that said, Andy in the show In the Past, in the Future, remember that show? Said that he originally got his start with The Martian. It was a serial, and he had a tribe of about 3,000 people who were following it on his blog. And it was their goading that got him to publish it as a Kindle book, I think specifically Kindle. And then, it kind of took off from there, and then the audiobook, Podium became interested, and then it took off from there. But the whole point is he did start on a blog. So.
Okay, here's what I think is the common denominator that a lot of people miss in this discussion. And this is a good discussion, and it is something that comes up a lot because, writers here, you've got to have a platform. You've got to start a blog. And I think that Andy would have been blogging no matter what, right?
Yeah.
And I think if you want to blog, you should blog. If you're like, I don't want to blog just to market my book, then don't do it.
That's me, by the way, just so you know. I've made that argument several times. Nobody listens to me.
It's the worst idea. I think that if you're somebody who naturally wants to blog, or if you have a really, really big audience already, I think then you can make a case that, okay, you have raving fans and they want to read more of you. Like, then it's a good mechanism because they'll share what you write, and so that does help you market. But if you don't already have an audience and you don't want to blog, like your blog is not going to succeed. The odds are so stacked against you. So just spend time writing more books, and get out there that way. That's what I'd say.
All right, I'll read the next question. I wrote a book I was trying to get a cover for it. I can't find a good cover designer. I'm going to kill myself. It was 3 months ago.
Wow, they're probably dead now. If only
know.
they knew about 99
There was no way to help
designs.
them, so I just gave up. There was no way to help them.
If only they knew about 99 designs.
What is this 90? I would be interested in hearing more about this 99 Designs.
99 Designs is a place that does book covers, banners, website stuff, pretty much anything that you need design-wise. They have designers waiting.
So, like,
to
as
do
long
it
as
for
you're
you.
willing to lose a lot, you're good using any sort of design function with them.
No, that's the best part about 99 Designs. You have nothing to lose. We've used them several times for book covers I couldn't do, and we went there and said, hey, we need this, and we gave the parameters for what we wanted the book to look like. We gave some examples, and designers came back with more great book covers that we could choose. We threw them up on a website, on a poll on our website, asked our readers to get involved, and the readers love being part of the process and getting to choose the covers. The whole process is awesome, and it's just a great service. And it'll prevent people from killing themselves. So, I mean, what's not to like?
I'd like to buck tradition by inviting Sean to invite this ad read for no reason, to interrupt it. No?
Well, I heard Dave talking about putting something up on a poll, and that sounded vaguely sexual. Was there anything sexual about 99 Designs?
Oh, God, this guy always ruins the ad reads. Just
Why
shut up,
would
Sean.
you do that?
Why are you involved? All right, so start your custom design today at 99designs.com/SPP. Be sure to use that link because that'll get you a free power pack upgrade valued at $99, which will get you more attention on your designs, on average 185% above what you get normally. Not above, like 105% of. Do I need to explain to people how this works? I don't know. So that's 99designs.com/SPP, and please don't kill yourself. So I have
I'm waiting for that email.
send that message on to well, I'll give you the suicide hotline and or 99 Designs depending on what suits you best. All right, so I did send the invite to Mark. We'll just hang on a second and wait for him to pop in. Mark's always fun. If you haven't seen Mark on the show before, this will be, I believe, his third appearance. He is our most faithful off Amazon platform guy, but he's far and above the Amazon appearances on this show. So he is our most regular bookseller.
Oh, you couldn't get Jeff Bezos? What the hell?
He's on next week.
Mm-hmm.
On Friday. Live.
We are scheduling with a Nook representative, and Apple's like the CIA, right? You can't actually talk directly to them, but Drafted Digital is going to be on, and they've kind of acted as our Apple intermediary and working on getting some Apple superstars to sort of represent Apple. And we got Mark from Kobo today, and Nook, and pretty soon we'll get Amazon one of these. There's Mark.
It's my favorite Canadian.
Your
Hey guys, how's it going?
favorite?
Yeah.
Did I go as high as favorite now, Dave?
Yeah, you're my favorite. Yeah. You supplanted that hockey player, whatever his name was.
You mean the Gretzky guy?
Wayne Gretzky. Yeah. That guy.
So I have a very pertinent question to start this interview out with, and that's that before we met you, you had a very awesome Lemmy mustache. Any chance to bring that back?
You know what? I actually had one for about 15 minutes when I shaved off the beard last week. And when you first met me, and I was in the middle of November last time when I met you guys the first time, and that was only there for about a week. So, yeah, popular demand, I suppose.
Because you were on Joanna's show with it, and it was awesome.
That's right.
Like you didn't realize it was there. You were just talking about books. It was great.
Like, why is this guy wearing a costume?
There you go. So that's what I would say. So, Mark, thanks for coming on the show. This is your third appearance. I was telling these guys that you are our most faithful bookseller guest on the show. So, and we love Kobo. So thanks for being
your only bookseller guest on the show?
No, I was just saying that we're gonna have Nook on, and
Julia's
Apple,
coming on?
Julia's
Awesome.
going to come on.
Cool.
I didn't know if I was allowed to
Success.
say it was Julia, but Mark did. So there you go.
Oh,
but
sorry.
That's okay. 'Cause
Whoops.
she's
I met
sort
her.
of
She's
tentatively
fantastic.
agreed.
I love her.
She's got to. Well, we've talked to her, but she's got to talk to PR and clear that sort of thing. But she's going to be on, and Apple's like the CIA. Like
Yeah, if Barnes and Noble is mad, they can send their complaints to @CC Bulger.
But this is good because we've always sort of liked the idea of cross-platform selling, but we've sort of hit it a little bit harder. We've sort of put our money where our mouth is on the Invasion launch. You guys may not know this. Mark, I don't know if you know it even, but we originally considered Invasion as we were going to sell out a little bit, and we were going to try and see what we could do with Select. And we made a decision and said, nope, we're just going to go ahead and see what we can do cross-platform on this because we fundamentally dislike the idea of exclusivity, but we wanted to try and play the game, but we're just not. And even now, some of the experiments that we've done in Select, like Futurist X was in Select, like that's coming out. Like we're just kind of through with it. We're just going to kind of.
It's successful, and we're not doing it anymore.
Right.
Because it's
Yesterday's news.
It's so short term. Yeah, it's just short term. Like we wanted to know that we could win at Select if we tried. We saw that we could, and now we're pulling out. It's time. So
We saw we could make money. We said no, we don't want to make money.
well, no, we do want to make money. We just
We want to make money long term. I'm sure that
long-term,
Invasion would
yeah.
be. There's a possibility that Invasion would be killing it in a short-term spike on Amazon much more than it is, maybe even more than it is across platforms altogether. Maybe, I don't know. But that would be short-term. That just doesn't make sense to me.
we would
So
be putting off what we really want to do, which is build a big career as storytellers, worldwide on every platform.
And you do want to expand your audience because if you only stick with one retailer, you're only ever going to find people on that retailer. And Kobo has different customers, Apple has different customers, Nook has different customers. You're limiting yourself to that.
you know what I started doing with the contact email that I sent, and we'll get into this more when we'll have some email shows where Dave will just go to sleep because he won't want to hear about them. But I'm now tagging. We use a Aweber Pro Tools, which is a Aweber obviously tool, and so now I'm tagging everybody who clicks. So if somebody clicks the buy contact on Kobo link, they now get a tag on our list that says they're a Kobo buyer. So it's kind of nice now that we're able to say who people are in our audience, which is nice. Yeah.
Well, so for example, for the sorry, Sean, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, not at all. Please cut me off.
For the sexy buy more save more promo that we're running for your books, those are the ideal people to say, hey, I know you're on Kobo. Did you know you can stock up on a whole bunch of our titles that you may not have already?
Yes, that's exactly right. And we do want to talk about the buy more, save more. Now, we have noticed before I say that our list is predominantly Amazon, which is not surprising.
Well, but
the really, really smart people are the ones that are clicking the Kobo links, right?
Well, what I've found is, and I know that Joanna talks about this, or I think she's talked about it, and I've heard other people talk about it, is since we Americans, and I don't know if it's true in Canada too, will be North America-centric, and so it seems like, well, Amazon's big, and so, of course, we leap to Amazon must be big everywhere. Well, it's not. Like, that's just not the dominant platform in a lot of places. And so you're shooting yourself in the foot globally if you just say, I'm just going to stick with Amazon. Like, Kobo is very big in Canada. I don't know where the other ones are big.
Yeah, I think
it's different for different genres too, right?
What do you find does particularly well on Kobo, Mark?
Well, so romance #1, right? So romance, and then what we call more active romance or erotica does really, really well. Mysteries and thrillers are next, and then you kind of get into YA fantasy does better than fantasy in general. Although I do have one of my top 15 Kobo Writing Life authors is a fantasy author, making the most money and a whole whack of romance authors. Like, he sticks out like a sore thumb there. And then and that's Daniel Aronson. He's actually included your book in a promo we're doing this weekend at Astra, a Canadian science fiction convention. So we've got Invasion there, and one of Daniel's books as well, right? So we've got the post-apocalyptic sort of sci-fi, we've got the fantasy, we've got a whole bunch of other great titles, and then so then sci-fi and fantasy are slightly, I think the YA sci-fi and fantasy tend to do better in general than standard sci-fi fantasy, but there's a huge crossover audience there. And then what we do find is, so on Kobo, we find that a lot of our customers, of course they do better in Canada, because that's, we're like the Kindle of Canada, so people use the term Kobo almost the way that they would say Kindle in the States. Australia is also huge for a good number of our authors, Australia, New Zealand, and then we are growing even English language sales in the Netherlands, really starting to take off since we partnered with Bol, which is a huge retailer there. And Joanna's usually the one who's discovering new countries for us, where she's like, hey, I sold in this other country.
So you mentioned the buy more, save more. Is that now open to everybody, or is that still sort of on beta?
No, it's still in beta, right? So you guys are in the program. We did the test, and that's been running. And actually, I've been tracking. I'm not sure if you guys have been paying attention to how you've done, but what we have is like the average shopping cart is 3.3 units for you guys for the sales that you've had since that's gone live.
That's great. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'm going to send you more detailed stats on that. I mean, you guys haven't pushed it at all. We haven't pushed it at all.
Yeah, I mean, what else is on our plate? That's the problem. I can't answer.
No. I'm just saying, just putting it live without having any feature presentation whatsoever. Like, nobody said anything. We made it live, so if somebody goes to your item page, they will see buy two, get one free on Invasion and any of the other titles that you have. You've got what, 35 titles in the campaign. So meaning if anyone is looking at any of your books on Kobo, they're prompted to see, oh, wait a second, I click here and it brings you to a landing page. It shows you a beautiful list of all of the titles that you submitted for this. Meaning if they add 3 books to their shopping cart, the lowest price one will become free for that customer. And so what we've seen is, I mean, the average shopping bag, we actually have shopping carts at Kobo, so you can put more than one ebook in before you purchase. So the average shopper typically puts 1 book in their ebook shopping cart, and they buy and they go on their merry way. When they see one of your titles, what they're doing is, on average, any of the titles that have sold through this promo, they are actually adding, and actually 3.3 means there are some people who end up throwing another one in the shopping bag, so the average brings it down to 3.3, but without any promotion whatsoever, with the exception that Invasion was in a weekend sale a few weeks ago. And I don't know if it was a BookBub or not, but I know that's starting to get more traction. Because, I mean, just to let you guys know, stuff that I see going posted to BookBub is hitting our top 50 in Canada. And I look at it because we have monitors in the office here. When you're getting coffee, you can go look and see what's selling right now, and you see these titles sort of like a ticker tape fly by. You just see the covers, and I was like, hey, that was a BookBub this morning, cool. So I'm actually seeing that there is I know Kindle obviously is a huge effect. But the other platforms, including Kobo, tend to be growing on those platforms as well. So, anyways, that's it's still in beta, and we are in the process. I mean, obviously, you guys got in early. There's a few other authors, like indie authors, that we're working with that have gotten in early, and we're testing to see how do we best use this to help you find more customers, or the customers who like your stuff. How do we help those customers get more value so they stockpile and load up and say, you know what, I'm not just going to buy Invasion, I'm going to get the 3 books in the series, or you know what, I bought season 1 of Yesterday's Gone, I'd like to get season 2 because I saw that season 6 is out and I got to get caught up on this. So this gives them a chance to get more of your titles and still save some money.
It's also awesome. I mean, particularly, I don't know that this would hold true for most authors, but actually I would say it would. For us, it's really great if you've read Yesterday's Gone and that reader hasn't necessarily, they don't even know about the Beam, right? But it's a way of really cross-pollinating our audiences, which isn't as important, I think, for most authors, but it is series to series. You know, if you have 7 books in this series over here, and this other series that you think this group of readers might like, but they don't even know, they haven't given it a try, it's a really easy way to kind of migrate them over to try something like that.
It really is. And to Sean's point, I just threw the link into the chat so you can see. You know, you've got Invasion, you've got Season 1 of White Space, you've got Crash. By the way, Crash, absolutely adored that novel. Fantastic. And particularly Dave, because I know you love this in books. I love it too. I love the behind-the-scenes stuff. That was fantastic. So I had to decide to give you guys a verbal 5-star on that.
Thank you.
So, Mark, we've sort of described we've talked around the buy more, save more. Can you like nail that down a little bit, like the way that you described it to us, because it's flexible and everything too. There's a lot to it.
Yeah, so Buy More, Save More is currently, I mean, it's a live thing. It's in beta with our indie authors right now, so it's a very manual process that we're doing, and we're testing out to see how best it works. We are in the process of building in, I'm calling it BookBub built within Kobo Writing Life. So imagine you're looking for promotional opportunities. You don't have to leave the platform to go anywhere else. The promotional opportunities that we have scheduled, you will be prompted based on the titles you have. One of the possible promotions that we will have available that you can see through Kobo Writing Life is going to be a Buy More, Save More program. And this is because Kobo has a shopping cart. And in the shopping cart for ebooks, we're trying to encourage customers when they're buying one, like, what else would you like that we think you would also like? Again, as Sean mentioned, so you'd be reading this series, but did you know that this collective, I think of you guys, Sterling and known as a publisher, and Collective Inkwell is an imprint, and Right Non Stands an imprint. So the way Random House is a publisher and Crown is an imprint of them and stuff like that. That's kind of the way I envision you guys. So it helps you help customers who found one of your properties find other properties. The other thing that we're doing, because you guys do work collaboratively, is we do have one that went live today with Bella Andre, Barbara Freedy, and Tina Folsom. Three different. I'll answer the question in a sec, Dave. It's maybe because it's HTTPS. You may have to just get rid of the S. Okay. The great for the audio listeners wondering what I'm talking about. It's just a side conversation in the chat. But the concept there is you can actually have different authors working on this together and collaboratively. So we're trying to figure out ways that can help authors find new audiences by sharing that. And so what happens is this particular promo, and it's very flexible, you guys wanted to do a buy 2, get 1 free, so get 3 books for the price of 2. And so we selectively, and again, it had to be coded, so we had to get the data in. It takes a couple weeks to set up. But we would set up a landing page that has all of the titles in the promo, and each unique title as part of the promo has a unique link to the promo with did you know that if you buy 2 more titles you can get 1 for free, and prompts the users who aren't even aware that there's a promo going on that if they're looking at any of the titles they can get it. So what happens on your end, to the author's end, is there are 3 books that the customer gets. The customer's shopping cart shows that they've got the cheapest book for free. What we really do in the back end for the financial statement we send you is we take the price of the free book and we amortize the discount across all 3. Meaning, so for example, if there are 3 different accounts affected by this, it's not like, poor Dave's getting the shaft and Sean and Johnny are like laughing because they got all the sales and the free books are always Dave's. What happens is all 3 books take the equivalent hit to amortize that across it so that nobody's hurting more than anyone else. And so that's how Buy More, Save More works.
Now, is this sale specifically to your books, like the author's books, or can people pick up like different books by different authors?
No. So this promo,
the most flexible promo ever.
This promo only works with the titles you've defined. So you guys sent me a list saying, here are all the titles I want to be involved. It has to be one of those titles. So even though right now Bella, Barbara, and Tina have a different promo going on, it's buy 1, get 1 free. And it's stackable. So if you throw, for you guys, if they throw 6 books in their cart, they get 2 of them for free. With Barbara, Bella, and Tina, if they throw 4 books in their cart, they get 2 for free. So again, what we're doing is we're experimenting with authors to see what kind of promo works best. Ideally, for two things. Ideally, to increase people who want to get your stuff. How can we give them more value? And again, this doesn't click in with any of those crazy automated price matching bots that are so aggressive and will come and break your legs, because it happens in the shopping cart, and it's a unique promo that's exclusive to a relationship that that can't be easily found out. It's not like we're discounting your books.
And that's a big deal, actually, because
it's a huge deal, yeah.
Because that happens so immediate now. I mean, if you have a deal, even if you're running it on a small scale at any of the e-tailers, and it's a 99-cent one day, but you just want to do it at Kobo, that one day could end up costing you a lot of money because
on Amazon. Technically, I mean, our contract and Amazon's contract and Apple's contract all state that you can't have a lower price on the other platforms. Amazon tends to be the only one who comes to your house and tries to break your kneecaps if you try and do it.
Now,
right? We send you an apologetic email saying, your price really should be the same here. Please, thank you very much. Very Canadian.
Now, how is this promo like inserted into the back of books and stuff? Like when somebody buys like Crash or something, is there any way?
No, it's at the point of purchase.
Okay. Now, is there any way put like a CTA for that? Like, is it something that's like a permanent thing?
So if we had an extended enough promo, like this is a promo that's going to run till the end of the year. That would give you enough time to make it worth your. I mean, is it worth your while putting it into the back of the EPUB? We don't automatically append anything to the EPUB files that you support. The only thing we append automatically is on the previews that customers download to their accounts. At the end of the preview, we insert a buy button, because we know that 50% of users who actually read the preview click that buy button. So that's very critical for us and obviously for you guys.
50%?
Yeah, the stats show that when a user because the way it happens is the preview gets added to their Kobo library, and when they get to the end of the preview, it's like, did you enjoy this 10% sample? Please click here to purchase it. And 50% of our readers who get to that point click that buy button. So, God, we love that buy button.
Yeah, that's a good button.
One thing that I always thought would be cool to do in the back of an ebook is, like, let's say that they read Yesterday's Gone. Well, even though that's free, but let's say it wasn't. Or even if it was, they read Yesterday's Gone Season 1, and then they got to the end. And, like, if there was some kind of coupon code at the end of that, like, you can get Season 2 right now for $1 off or half off or something like that.
Well, Dave, I'm glad you mentioned that, because the other thing that we have, and this is a Q4 development for Kobo Writing Life, is...
He's such a marketer. God, Dave, stop selling for a second.
You're selling out to the man here. You know how Smashwords allows you to create coupon codes on the fly? And, Audible gives you some coupon codes up front?
Yes.
We have in our development plan for 2015, and this is something happening at the end of the year, the ability for you, when you publish a book, here's 5 randomly generated coupons, so you can go download your book for free without having to make it free. And if you want more coupon codes, specify how you want it. Do you want it 30% off, 50% off, 100% off? When do you want it to be for? Like, what's the deadline? Like, how long? Can it be multiple use per users? There's a whole bunch of things we need to know because we've created these coupon codes for authors, and we've done it manually. But we want to automate that so that you can say, you know what, I'm going to a conference, I'm doing a talk, there's 100 people in the audience, I want 100 coupon codes. Or I want a code that's good this weekend only, and I want to give everyone who buys my print book a free book. Here's a coupon code, like whatever, however you want to use it. And so if you create them, then maybe you could insert them in the book.
Yeah, could you do one like indefinitely, like open-ended, like because you never know when someone's going to finish a book.
Yeah, you can set a deadline. We do actually have there's a requirement to set a deadline, but you could set the deadline to end times. So,
cool. Okay.
Yeah, end times, 2018.
When I talk to
end
people,
times are Dave's favorite times.
Yeah. Usually like when I suggest ideas like that, I hear back from people, oh no, we can't do that, or the tech isn't there, or whatever. So it's
we can do it. No,
it's
we
good
can
to hear
do
it. Yes, it's good to hear
and
it.
we want to do it. Well, you know why? I mean, keep in mind, I'm an author too, so it's like, what do I want to do? What are the things that? Because I listen to all the writing podcasts too, including yours, and I'm alongside you guys. I'm going, yeah, that's a good idea. We should do that. So the biggest problem that we have is we have so many ideas and we have such a small dev team that every idea I have takes them X amount of weeks to execute. So I've got no word of a lie. I've got at least 18 months of development ready for them, and every day I come up with, Dave just said it's a great idea. Let's do this. So that's the biggest challenge.
Can I offer you a word of advice? Never hire Sean at Kobo, because he will keep your dev team busy for 15,000 years.
I know. I don't let the dev team listen to your podcasts just for that reason alone.
Awesome.
Yeah, coupon codes are a big deal. I wish everybody did that, because it's just not the same. With lowering the price, it's not the same. Being able to say, like Dave said, you got to the end of a book, you just finished this book, get the. Did you just say fuck off? Like, I don't think that's what I said.
No, I said you get a buck, $1, a loony, as we say in Canada.
You get to the end of the book and it says fuck off. Like, what? This is from Canada? It's just so polite. Oh man. Okay, well,
actually, but I'm glad you talked about getting to the end of the book, because I'm not sure if your listeners know that we've recently modified Kobo Writing Life to include the ability to put the series number in your metadata, and that is critical because we are going to be doing some automated upselling to customers who've bought any books in your series. We have to have the metadata there. Two things will be happening is when you're looking at that book as part of a series. So, for example, if you're looking at Invasion or Yesterday's Gone, and you're on the item page, we've got the also bots, or the customers who read this also read that, but just below that, really, really tiny thumbnails showing the entire series in order. And then in the book, what we have planned to do, and we're in the process of testing, is you get to 8% that as you're reading book 2, if the metadata shows that there is a book 3, once you get to 80%, we automatically take the preview for book 3, stick it in your library. So when you get to the end of book 2, we say, you enjoying the series? Do you want to keep reading? Here's a preview of the next book. And of course, if we can get them to read that preview, 50% of the users will hit the buy button.
Oh wow, that's
so we're really excited. We're really excited about that.
Question on that:
Yes,
is that like a retroactive thing? Like, let's say book 3 isn't out yet, but somebody buys book 2 6 months from now when book 3 is out. Would the old book 2 still update and show that?
Yeah, so long as the metadata is there, and I'm going to say metadata a million times because it's a thing to do, but it's a dumb computer. The computer has to say, Yesterday's Gone, season 1 is book 1, I guess, or however you do that. Okay. Season 2 is book 2. It has to know that there is a book 2, and that book has to either be active or in pre-order status for that to work. So if it's a pre-order, it'll just go, we'll charge you and send it to you. If that book exists, it'll go. So keep in mind that this is something happening on the fly. In the user library experience is wholly dependent on the metadata that we get from the publishers. So we put a post on our blog on the KoboWritingLife.com explaining and showing how to do this, and I've just been at every conference I've talked to, every time I get a chance to talk to authors, I'm like, have you fixed your metadata? Have you gone in and cleaned it up? I often go into someone's account and go, here, I fixed 2 of your titles to show you how to do it. Go do the rest of them, please. It'll only help us all sell more books.
Okay, we have a question from Garrett Robinson. Can Mark talk about Kobo Writing Life's reporting, because it's still really hard for an average user, e.g. me, to see things like free downloads and so on. Also, how can authors find Kobo readers to promote to them like we find Amazon readers to promote to them?
Okay, so thanks, Garrett, for the question. So first question is, I lost the first question.
Stats.
Stats. Oh yeah. Thank you.
Free download.
So one of the Q2 projects we're working on right after we finish the author merchandising is helping you better understand your stats. The free download data is difficult to deduce and determine, so we're looking at how do we improve that experience for you. How do we also notify you of other things, and then how do we give you access to your backlist sales in terms of, I know we send you we email you a spreadsheet every month, but being able to retrieve the spreadsheet and also being able to look at the downloads, and that's key because based on the stats that we've done, if 10,000 people did your free book, we know that only about 1,500 to 2,000 people will ever actually open that free book. And giving you stats, not just how many people downloaded it, but how many of those people actually opened the book, how many of them completed it. So when you're measuring your effectiveness of a free first in series, giving you the ability to really understand how many of those people actually read the book and what did they do after that.
I think
so
that's
that's
a
one.
really important number too. I think people don't realize how much digital hoarding there is, and so you get elevated expectations. Why did 50,000 people download my book for one in the series, and I only sold X number of 2?
Yeah. So 1.5 to 2% of the people who take your free book will actually ever open it based on numerous stats that we've run at Kobo. I can't see it being all that different on the other platforms. It's just so if you assume about 2%, that's how many people actually even bother to look at your book.
It totally makes sense, and you need to know how you're converting from book 1 to book 2. But it's not a fair metric. You need to know how many people bought book 1 and then didn't buy book 2. That's an important metric.
But the metric we looked at was of the people who finished the book within, I think we did a 6-week period, we had between 40 and 56% of those people went on to buy one or more books in the rest of the series. And that's pretty awesome, because how do you figure out who those people are? That's what you want. I think Garrett had a second question, which, of course, I forgot.
He was asking about
Kobo readers to promote.
And let me just append to that, too, because I think what people are most interested in is sort of, success tips. So I would say finding Kobo readers is what Garrett was referring to. I would say also what are, tips for success on Kobo.
Garrett, I think you should go to Canada.
You have to go to Canada. Yeah, that was my question.
Go to Canada. So actually, Kobo has more readers in Canada than we have in the U.S.
Mark said move to Canada, Garrett.
Move to Canada. We do have more readers in Australia, New Zealand area. We actually have a growing number of readers in the U.K. Like the English language markets are pretty good, but once you have to kind of leave the U.S. to find a lot of them, or the really, really, really smart people in the U.S. are on. No, I'm just kidding. But that's why we are building promotional tools right in Kobo Writing Life for you to be able to access. So when we have those promos, that's because we're sending an email blast to Kobo readers, people who are already on our platform. So we're trying to help you get that. And this is something that I have to say, because I admire the aggregators who help people publish to Kobo. So publishing through Smashwords and I adore the guys at Drafted Digital. They're absolutely amazing people. But unfortunately, for the aggregators who help you get into Kobo, we are going to be focusing on helping people who publish directly to Kobo Writing Life get in. And I'll tell you, I'll be completely frank with you. I'm employed by Kobo to run Kobo Writing Life. I am measured on sales out of Kobo Writing Life, so if books sell from any other source, I don't get credit for it, and I'm out of a job. So when I go to help authors sell more, I'm more likely, I'm more likely to help you sell a title that's in Kobo Writing Life than one that's at Kobo from some other platform. Not that I will discriminate against you. I still want to help you sell, but I'm probably going to put a little bit more effort into keeping my job.
Headline
that sort of thing is
war on Smashwords.
No, not at all. And it's a tough one, because I do admire and respect the aggregators, and they do a great job helping authors who don't want to go direct. And I understand that. But I have to make sure that I can continue to do the development that I want to do to make things easier for authors, like building these tools, like the coupon codes and the merchandising. But if I'm only getting measured on how authors are doing who are part of Kobo Writing Life, I'm going to probably focus most of my time on helping them.
I'm really glad you mentioned that, actually, because I like Drafted Digital a lot too. But we use them for Apple, and we don't use them for Kobo. And the simple reason is because Kobo's interface is so easy. Yeah, it's just not. There's just no reason. Whereas Apple kind of actively encourages people to use aggregators. They've made a big deal about being source agnostic. They just don't care where they come from.
Drafted Digital will help you at Apple. They're great guys. They will help you. They do that.
Oh, they are.
Yeah, I know. I like them a lot for Apple, but I don't see the need for Kobo. So we use them for Apple.
Cool.
So there you go. What about success tips? We had a lot of luck recently with one of the promotions. But
Yeah.
what are some other good sort of best practices?
So the promotions are probably right now the most significant tools that you can use at Kobo to maximize and find new readers, right? There's weekend promos, it's like a 30% off or whatever. That's why we're building those tools in, so that we can, if it's a promo where you have books that are eligible, and again, we will be very, very picky, because we're not going to want books in a promo that aren't books that we feel proud to put in our front window. So, you know, if you designed your cover with paint, if you didn't use a great service like 99 Designs to get a fantastic cover / SPP to get that extra $99 worth of value, you may not be as likely to get into the promo. And we have built in like reasons why you weren't included in the promo is honestly
that's awesome.
We don't think the cover is appealing, and it's really hard to tell someone their baby's ugly. It
Can
really
you
is.
talk to the book club about that and tell them to give us a little bit more feedback when they don't want something?
Yeah, no, I think that's really awesome that you tell authors why, because so many authors are left wondering, and I don't think that there's anything to improve. Okay, so if somebody's submitting to a Kobo promo, do you guys ever look in the book, or is it because you know the
we
biggest
read everyone cover to cover.
I know the biggest conversion element there is the cover and then the product description, and
of course
the book is more about reader satisfaction
and driving to the next book.
Yeah.
So here are the things we look at. We look at the cover first. If the cover is attractive enough to warrant looking at the description, we look at the description. Then what we also do is we look at your metadata. How clean is your metadata? How accurate is it? And then here's a fun one. Then we look to see how many other titles you have. Am I going to Sorry, I know it sounds awful, but this speaks specifically to the advice you guys give your listeners all the time. Am I going to promote Sean Platt, who has a huge catalog of titles? Meaning if I can get someone hooked on Sean, they're going to read lots of his books, and we're both going to win. Or am I going to promote Mark Leslie, me, who has less titles? Guess what? Sean's going to get in the promos, and Mark isn't. Right?
Poor Mark. Are you going to tell him? You're going to tell that poor bastard?
I'm going to tell him.
Maybe
Tell him
to grow the mustache back and put that on a.
Yeah, I could put that in.
Mark, give the pricing advice too, because you've talked about this before, but this is super important, and it's the sort of thing
this is critical.
The opposite of what you see at like
All
Amazon.
Right. just like there are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of on the shores of the world's largest river, there are more prices than just U.S. dollars, and this is critical. If you expect global sales from Kobo, which is you should expect global sales. I mean, if you're a U.S. author, you're going to get most of your sales from outside the U.S. from Kobo. Is your price actually attractive to a non-U.S. customer? Do you actually have a controlled Canadian price? And you can and should do this on Kindle too. You put in, obviously you're not going to put in $2.99. You're going to sell your book for at least $4.99 or more, right? Because it's all about value, not about being the cheapest to market. If you put in a price of $4.99 US dollars, that'll show up as like $5.34 Canadian. So that does two things to you as an author. If you believe no one in their right mind would ever pay more than $4.99 for your book, which is why you priced it at that, you lost all those customers in Canada who it's suddenly above $5. You're better off to go and manually override the auto conversion and make your book $5.99 Canadian or $4.99 Canadian. You're more likely to sell it at a price that looks natural to the territory. And for pounds and for euros, I would strongly advise you can go in and round that to the nearest 99, and in some cases 49 is also acceptable in a lot of European countries, just because the euro is so much more powerful than the US dollar, the Canadian dollar. That will help your book look more natural to consumers who see the book from Canada, from France, from the UK, from even Australia, New Zealand. And a little bit of advice for Australia and New Zealand: the readers, God bless them, readers in Australia and New Zealand, like Canada, are used to getting ripped off by book prices because of the cost to send stuff over. And so in the ebook world, if you round up in Australia and New Zealand, it's not a bad thing, because consumers are probably still getting a good value for your book because it's significantly cheaper than they pay for a paperback. So why not put those extra 70 cents in your pocket? And at Kobo, as I think I've talked about on the show before, we're more likely to spend time featuring a book that's priced slightly higher. The other
That's
thing
actually the pricing events. That's actually what I meant. Is that you're
higher prices.
And I found this on. I think Amazon almost is unique in that, like, there's a lot of bargain shoppers on Amazon. But I think this is really valuable advice. That there have been several times. Hey, we have a book coming up, Mark. What's it priced at? It's one of the first things you ask. And you guys aren't that interested in featuring things that are at $2.99, even though that tactic does really well on Amazon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, again, at the end of the day, we don't sell anything else. Amazon does. Amazon uses books and ebooks as a loss leader to sell you a car or some other high-ticket item. We only sell ebooks. We have to actually make money selling ebooks, or we lose. So, if I have 10 spaces to feature books, and I have great books at 99 cents and $2.99, but I also have great books at $4.99 and $6.99, guess who's going to win? Because I don't even have to sell nearly as many of the higher priced books to make more money, so it's not necessarily about volume. And I've even done I've sat down with some authors and said, oh my God, you're doing really, really well. If you walk your price up $1 more, every unit you sell, you make 70 cents more. Let's measure it for a time and see what happens. And oftentimes they may sell 10% less than they sold at the lower price point, but they made 40% more. Mm-hmm. So the other thing I concern myself about is when I've done 99-cent sales, and I actually got into BookBub early on, that's when I got my lowest reviews, because people were less vested in the product, and they bought it going, it's only $1. Oh, 1-star review. This is not my kind of book.
That happens with free stuff too.
Yeah, so that's a tough one, right? And I want the user to buy the book that's right for them. I want them to like it. So the higher price point says, yes, I think I'm really going to like this, and they make that decision up front, and they're more vested in it. Oh my God, Sean, that is a gigantic thing of pop. Wow.
It's actually water.
It's just water.
Oh, is it water? Oh,
it's just water.
Yeah. Sean doesn't
just look like a movie mug or something.
No, it is. It's my Hunger Games cup. But I drink like 10 of these a day.
I noticed once when the Hunger Games cup changed to a different Hunger Games cup. That's how invested I am in all.
Yeah, it was catching fire. I have both cups.
And he argued with me. I was like, "That's a different cup." He's like, "No, it's the Hunger Games."
Well, I didn't even realize they were different until you pointed it out.
I know.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the advice on the foreign markets, because we actually had a reader of ours say that our prices for, I forget what it was, I think our short stories or whatever, were not very friendly to Canada readers on Amazon. What happened was, it used to be that it auto price matched at something close to the price that it was in the U.S., so I didn't think much about it. But it was like $1.50, almost $2 over, and I was like, God, no, I got to go in and fix that.
Yeah, so you should manually override. I mean, if you want to increase your prices in Canada in general, go on all the platforms that let you control that. And I mean, at par is probably a good thing to do, but you can experiment and say, in Canada, I mean, so a hardcover in the US is $25. In Canada, they're $35 to $40. So paying an extra $1 for an ebook, I'm used to that. That's actually still a good deal. And
this pricing stuff is, I mean, we've been talking about optimization all year, and covers, clearly, product descriptions, obviously, but pricing, that is part of optimization. Go in title by title and make sure that you are.
Here's where I always come in on that, because the part of me that understands that is a smart strategy wars very, very much with the part of me that knows that we have like 200 fucking titles, and that everything that we do is multiplied, and that we just don't have enough time in the day. So I actually have been. Now, on Kobo, I make a point, because you've said this, and I guess that means I'm probably in violation of something, because I don't do it other places. But I just let them price match, because currencies fluctuate, and I'll go in and I'll see something that we originally had, and it's like way off now, like in one direction or the other, and so I've just been saying screw it. I don't know how to manage that with the catalog we have.
Yeah, it's a tough one. So I think you have to kind of pick your battles and say, these titles do better in these territories, so I'm going to optimize these titles in these territories. Yeah. Or this is a series I really want to push in Canada. I want to focus on that. So instead of going through your entire catalog, just focus on the ones, the experiments and see how they work within your catalog.
Yeah, you're right. Hey, Sean, the moose hats and maple syrup series, go ahead and adjust those all manually in Canada so that they have 99 cents.
Already done.
Yeah.
I can't wait to buy them.
All right, so I think that's probably it. Any final words on anything that we didn't cover? We covered buy more, save more, and promo.
I
and all
did.
that stuff.
Well, after Mark goes, I do want to mention something, but go ahead, Mark.
Deal of the day is something that I'm trying to negotiate to get KWL titles into deal of the day using the price promo tools that we have built in. So one of the features we're building is when you go in and set a price promo, if the price promo is attractive, like 50 to 80% discount from the original price, which is hard to do if your original price is $2.99. It's not really a deal. It's already a deal. We're looking at how can we get that planned and scheduled into deal of the day, because deal of the day is a huge way to move titles, and so that's one of the things I'm really excited about looking for, because if we can slip some KWL stuff into deal of the day through the author merchandising tools that we're building, we're really going to help people who need a kickstart to get those customers checking out their Kobo books.
Dave, I know you have a question, but I want to ask about the deal of the day thing. Like, can we flip that in? Like, will you let us know if you did do a price promo that would be a good candidate for deal of the day?
Yes.
Or is it because I don't know. Are people knowing to set those promos unless they're doing a book bub or something?
Once we have the ability to do that, we're going to be sending out, like on the KWL blog on KoboWritingLife.com, we're going to be sending out notes saying, do you want to be considered for deal of the day? There's going to be notifications in KWL saying, you just set a price promo that we think is attractive to deal of the day. Click here for us to take a second look at this title. Awesome. And so it'll be based on those parameters. And then the same way that I give you guys advice when you're asking, email Kobo Writing Life and say, I'm interested in a promo. Is this a good price? We actually have humans that actually look at that, and we'll say, you know what, going from $2.99 to 99 cents is not a big deal, because I got another book here that's eligible that's $12.99 and it's going to be $2.99. So it's one of those things where we're like, which book do we put in the front window? The one that makes us the most money, pretending we're a business.
Yeah, it's the difference that Kobo merchandises, and Amazon doesn't really merchandise. Amazon is algorithm based, and Kobo is merchandising like a bookstore.
More like a bookseller, yeah.
Dave, you had a question.
No, and I actually had completely unrelated to Kobo or anything. Our friend Garrett B. Robinson has done a little short film called Unsaid, which is pretty cool. It started off as something he wrote, and then he's taken it to video, and actor. I mean, it's a real production.
That's very cool.
I love this story because for those of you who are OGs in self-publishing podcast lore, you may remember that Garrett, original Garrett 1.0, was the screenwriter who was going to try writing some books. This is what he wanted to do to begin with, which is super cool.
So you can find it at garrettbrobinson.com/unsaid. That's Garrett with GARRETT Robinson ROBINSON.com /unsaid. Check it out.
I miss his old URL with like ampersands and shit in it. All right, so Mark, thanks so much for being on. Always good to have you.
Thanks, guys.
Kobo Writing Life, guys, go direct to Kobo, and your Canadian prices in 99 cents. Send Mark bribes. Well, maybe not. And that's been it for the Self-Publishing Podcast. I don't feel like reading a CTA today. Just go check out our stuff, and we'll see you next week.
What?
I said check out Garrett's Unsaid.
Oh, okay.